In this video, I'm going to show you how you can level up your design skills by adding gradients and light effect into your animation. So let's start. Before we start, I want to mention that the entire design of this video is from Layer Lemonade's channel. I highly suggest checking out their channel. So a huge shout out to Layer Lemonade. Let's continue. Now, before we get to the design phase, there are two important concepts that you need to know in order to become better at the styling. The first one is color and the lighting. Now, I have an entire course dedicated to colors which will pop up right now. But please do not close this video and watch it until the end. Now, there are many ways to achieve the gradient effects in Adobe After Effects, but there are two common ways that I will talk about it. Understanding how to work with gradients will help you understand this video better. On the left side, we have a circle made by Adobe After Effects Shape Tool. By clicking on the Fill option, you can choose from various styles for your shape. Now, you can control the color range by changing the start and end points of this slider. Now, the second circle is made by Gradient Wrap Effect, which you can access by selecting the Effects and Preset tab, which is located in here, and then type Gradient Wrap and apply it to your layer. Now, the Gradient Wrap effect has a start and end point controllers that allow you to control the color range of your layer. Now, there is one major difference between these two circles. For example, if I select this circle 2 layer and I start to move it, the effect starts to move with it as well. But unlike the circle 1 layer, the color range will not change when moved. Now, we will use the shape gradient for the rest of this video. However, there is a fix for making the effect not move. Well, select the circle 2 layer, hold Alt and then click on the start of the ramp to activate the expression. Now, write to comp value to fix it. Now, as I do that, the start point will jump away, so I need to readjust it. Now, I will copy the expression and I will paste it for the end of the ramp as well. So now it works well. So now with this in your mind, let's learn how we can create the vase. Now I'm inside of the Vase Start project, which will learn how to design the vase and the leaves. And I'm going to my circle tool and let's for now set the fill on a solid color. And I'm going to double click on the circle tool to create a circle. Let's rename it to vase. Now I'm going towards the ellipse 1, ellipse path, and then I will turn off the chain option and I will set the Y value to 1200, and then I will turn on the chain option again and I will set it on 450. So this is our base, but we only need about 70% of this circle, so we need to trim it. So I will use the track matte to do it. And I'm going to select the rectangle tool and I'm going to draw a rectangle about this size. Now I'm gonna rename it to mask. Now I'm gonna use the track matte pick whip to parent it to the mask, and I will set it on invert. Now all we need to do is that we need to adjust it. So let's just move it down a bit. So I'm gonna select the vase, and this time I'm gonna hold Alt and then I press on the fill colors to change the fill to the gradient. And now I'm just going to adjust this slider for now. And then I'm going to select each color and I use eyedropper tool to adjust its color. In order to get access to the slider controller, you need to select the gradient fill. So I'm just going to adjust it. Now, in order to add a bit more stylization, we can use the layer styles. Now I will select the vase layer and I'm going to right click on it. In layer styles, I'm going to select the inner shadow. Now let's talk about the light source. If we assume that there will be light on here, we have to set some shading in the bottom left corner to turn a flat 2D circle into a 3D sphere. Now let's open the inner shadow section. Now the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the light source from top to bottom. Now I will increase the distance to increase the shadow size. And now by increasing the size parameter, this will blur the shadow into a vase. Now let's add 50% noise into it. And if I zoom in, as you see, the design is filled with noise. So we only need noise around the shadow parts. So we just need to change the blend mode from multiply to overlay. But first, let's reduce this opacity a bit. Now I'm gonna adjust the gradient a bit. Now that we have the vase, it's time to learn how we can create the leaf. So let's go towards our pen tool and let's turn off the fill option, and now let's turn a fill for a stroke. So I'm going to create a straight line with 3 points. Now if I hold Alt and I click on each point, it will turn into a Bezier handle that I can control. So in this way I can modify the path. So for example, I'm going to create a path like this. Now I'm going to call it leaf, and I will increase the stroke all the way, for example, to 200. Now if I navigate through the content, shape 1 and then the stroke, in taper settings, if I change the end length to 100, I will get the leaf. So now if I place the layer beneath the vase layer, I will have this. Now still you can adjust your leaf to your own design. Now this time I will select the stroke color and I will change it to a gradient, and I will use the color guide to change its color. Now I will select the gradient stroke and I will change the slider to fix the color position. And lastly, I will get the layer styles from the vase and I will paste it into the leaf. However, I need to change the light source a bit. Now to create the leaf line, you need to duplicate the shape one more time and then set its stroke to a small number such as 5. However, you need to reverse the colors. But I highly suggest to add the line at the end, because if you now duplicate the shape, you need to adjust 2 paths. So I suggest to delete the path and then make the duplicate of your shape, and then start adjusting the duplicates until you're happy with your design. Once your vase is done, create a comp and place the vase into the comp. Now let's go towards the background design. So once you have placed your vase, it's time to design the table, which is just a simple stroke with gradient and inner shadow applied to it. Now for the background, I have used a grid and gradient ramp effect. The upper part is a bit darker compared to the bottom part. Now about the light source, let me show you how it's done. If I open the lights comp, which right now is a blank comp, first thing you need to do is that you need to create a solid layer, and then draw a mask around the area you want to create the light source. And lastly, add the effect linear wipe. This effect is basically a wipe transition effect. So use the angle and transition completion to create the light source. Lastly, use the mask feather to feather the light source. Now, the light sources are made in this way. For the bright parts, I use the white, and for the darker parts, I use the black color. And by duplicating the effect and changing the transition completion %, you can add more details. Now, the frame is made by a simple rectangle with a stroke. So, lastly, for the leaf animations, I have used Crazy Shape from Motion Design School. However, you can use the bend effect to get this effect. Well, thank you for watching this video. Please, if you have enjoyed this video, leave out a like and comment, and if you are new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button for more cool videos. Thank you so much. Goodbye.